It's time for the all-new radio for small business. Get inside the mind of the business owner. Hosted by Eugene Rowe. Sponsored by HomeBaBiz. Connecting, capitalizing, discovering how to take care of business. Go.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of Radio for Small Business, sponsored by HomeBaBiz.com, hosted by yours truly, Eugene Rowe. Want to give a quick hello to all the fine people in Palm Beach, Florida, West Palm, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. It's our first week on the air at WSBR 740 AM Money Talk Radio. It's an all-new show. We'll be on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. Always make sure you tune in to Radio for Small Business, where we get into the mind of the business owner. And on today's show, we've got two business owners who've been on ABC's Shark Tank, and then one who came up with an idea just because she was having problems smelling her husband. Okay? We'll let your imagination stay like that for just a minute. It's not too crazy, but we'll get to it. Later on in the show, Fleetwood Hicks, owner of Villy Customs, talks to us about his experience on ABC's Shark Tank. But up first, it's Fun Cakes, LLC.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect, capitalize, go.
So Kimberly Aya, owner of Fun Cakes, LLC. You may have seen her on Shark Tank. You may have seen her work on The Hangover. She is a small business owner who is actually making things happen in the world, in the country, in the community. Kimberly, thanks for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about your business and how you got started with Fun Cakes.
Well, I actually had Fun Cakes in Europe originally as a real bakery, and then I moved back to the States and decided to continue. So I went to a bridal show, and as every baker knows, you take fake cakes to a bridal show so that they can see your work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was working on still getting my bakery and getting everything lined up, but at the bridal show for 3 days, 90%, 99% of the brides just kept asking if they could use my fake display cakes. And I was like, why? And so they taught me my entire business in 3 days.
Oh, my goodness.
So I figure you might as well listen to people. You might as well, they're the customer, they're the bride. They know what they want. So I figured, well, then I can just use an office space. I don't need a bakery. And I might as well give it a shot. And then 6 weeks later, I was on the Today Show. So I figured I might as well do this.
Wow.
So that was 8 years ago.
Most people would be envious or wouldn't even think that they could start a business and then 6 weeks later be on a show like the Today Show. How was that ride for you?
It was insane. I mean, all I did was, as any business owner knows, when you start a new business, your local newspaper should be able to write a little segment about you in the business section that this new business has started in the community and tell about you. So once I decided that I was going to do the fake cakes because that's what the brides were asking for, I wrote an email to my local newspaper, saying that I'm starting this new business and you could do a little write-up about me in the business section. And so it took them about 2 weeks to answer me, and then it took another 2 weeks for them to come and interview me, and they kept dragging their feet. And then they told me I would be like in Tuesday and Saturday's newspaper. So I wasn't in Tuesday or Saturday, and I wasn't in the following week Tuesday or Saturday. So I, sent an email back to the newspaper going, so are we going to put this in? What's happening? And they answered me, current business keeps happening, whatever that means. Because I thought I was current. I was brand new. So then the next day, I come out of the gym, and they have the newspaper stand there, and I'm on the front page of the newspaper.
Oh, boy.
So in retrospect, looking back at it, they waited until the story was June so that they could have a June cover story.
Ah.
So then the local newspapers owned by many newspapers, many radio stations, and so it just spread right across America within the first 3 days because everybody was looking for a June wedding story.
Oh, boy.
And then after that, it was the Today Show and Good Morning America. And then after that, it was Australia and London and Paris. And it was insane. I mean, I had only been opened up like 1 month. And here I am interviewing in Australia. So
oh, man.
I just figured, well, it must be a good idea. Then I should stick with it.
How'd you prepare for that round of press? How'd you prepare for those interviews?
I didn't. I had no idea how to do any of it. And I did print. I mean, it's insane all I did, but, you just tell your story. You just say, this is what I did, this is how it worked out. I mean, I've never done any PR classes. I've never done how to get PR. I just got handed it all. So you just go by the seat of your pants real fast.
I like that attitude, especially with business owners and entrepreneurs. And speaking of by the seat of your pants, I mean, you guys were featured in The Hangover. You got to tell us how you got your business and your product featured in a major, huge Hollywood film.
Well, again, it was just having an internet site, and they found me on the internet site, and they called me up and they asked how the business works and how would they go about running a cake. And, so I explained everything, and he's like, okay, my secretary will call you back and order the cake. And nobody ever called me, so I figured, I didn't get the order. What a shame. And then about 6 months or 6 weeks later, he called me and he's like, okay, so the cake's ready to ship today, right?
Oh, boy.
I'm like, no, I never heard from your secretary. So we had less than 24 hours to make 2 cakes to ship out to L.A. to be in the Hangover movie.
I'm liking the way everything's coming together for you. I think I'm smart enough to know that you were at least somewhat prepared because you've had years of experience in this area, or not necessarily in public relations, but you'd been working faithfully and diligently all that time, correct?
Correct.
So
actually, I did the Hangover movie when I had been in business a year.
Okay.
About a year and a half is when I did the Hangover movie.
Gotcha. So
that was pretty cool to see that up on the big screen. It was like, okay, it's really a good idea. I ought to stick with it.
Wow.
Because every entrepreneur knows you have good days and bad days, and you always wonder if you should stick with it.
Absolutely.
But those are the things that kept me going.
Now, how far along were you when you decided to try to raise capital and go on shows like ABC's Shark Tank?
Well, I had been in business 7 years when I applied for Shark Tank.
Okay.
And the only reason that I applied for Shark Tank was that I live in Michigan. So I'm not in New York. I'm not in L.A. I'm not where all the big stuff is happening. And my business doing fake wedding cakes, it belongs in Las Vegas. I mean, they have 350 weddings a day.
Wow.
So I figured the only way I could make that dream a reality was to go onto Shark Tank and see if I could get one of them to bite and then want to invest to open up a shop in Las Vegas. So that's why I decided to give it a shot.
I know when you go on the Shark Tank, we've had other Shark Tank guests on the Home of Biz show. I've heard the preparation as far as numbers-wise and business-wise and business plan-wise can be pretty intense. Did it take you quite a while to figure all that stuff out, or did you pretty much have it all together?
No, we spent about 3 months. 3 months working on all of that. We did a couple of mock Shark Tanks with our local businesses in town, preparing for it. So we did a lot to prepare for it.
What types of things did you think you'd have to know in order to raise funds?
I think we had to show that this was the future of the wedding cake business, that it was going to continue, that I wasn't just it wasn't a hobby. It wasn't just a little job I was doing, out of my house, that there was potential here. Mm-hmm. So by showing the other companies we've worked with, the feedback we've gotten with from brides, and then to know all your numbers, obviously. You have to know all your numbers. So I watched all the last 4 seasons, and I wrote down all the questions and then made sure I could answer all those questions.
Huh. It seems watching the show that not every business owner goes on thinking that they should have answers to those questions.
No, you have to be prepared. Because it's one thing to get invited to air on Shark Tank, to go in front of the sharks, but it's another thing to get your episode to air. Just because you go out there doesn't mean they'll actually air you.
Oh, gotcha.
So you have to be prepared because your ultimate goal is to be aired.
Gotcha.
So like all the cakes that we had on the show, we made all those new. We shipped them all out there so that we had everything fresh and new and ready, TV appearance, that it was all set.
When it came time to get there and make your pitch, I'm pretty sure you got feedback that we didn't get to see on air. What's one of the most constructive things that you received feedback on?
Well, I did not get a deal. But I did get feedback from them that it was a good business, it was a good idea, it is needed, but I just need larger numbers. for them to be interested.
Gotcha.
And I knew that going into it, that our numbers weren't as fantastic as I would like them to be, that I was hoping they would see beyond that, but they didn't.
But even still, from a business owner standpoint, you still were able to get valuable marketing just by being on the show, correct?
Definitely. So when you leave, you don't know if you're going to air or not. You're just waiting once you've left California and you've finished filming. Then you're waiting to hear if you're actually going to get to air or not. So we were super excited when we learned that we were going to air, because that is the ultimate goal.
Gotcha.
As you're saying, from a marketing standpoint, is just to get aired so that other people can hear about this business and know about it.
Not to get all up in your business, so to speak, but I know just that marketing alone had to bolster that bottom line quite a bit, and maybe it kind of softened the blow of not getting a deal.
I mean, of course, we went there to get a deal. That was our goal. But once we didn't get it, then it was like, okay, now we want to air, because then other people will call us and we'll get other things that we hadn't even dreamt of. And that is exactly what's happening. So we have some other goals that have come along since then, of phone calls we've gotten, things that we hadn't even thought of companies calling us and asking to use our cakes different ways that we hadn't thought of. So we're also pursuing those ideas as well.
You know, Kimberly, owner of Fun Cakes LLC, I'm hearing you say some great stuff, and one of the main things I'm hearing you say is that you listen to customer feedback very well. Where'd you cultivate that talent?
You have to. I mean, because you can think you have the best idea in the world, but you got to sell it to everybody else. So versus trying to sell them something completely different, I'd rather do what they're asking for. I think that is one of the hardest part as an entrepreneur, is that you get this mindset of this is what I'm going to do, and you don't listen to anybody else. Where I was just the opposite. I was listening to everybody and what they all wanted, and then trying to get that to them so that it was what the people were asking for, not what I thought was a great idea.
Words of true wisdom from Kimberly Aya, owner of Fun Cakes LLC. How can listeners get a hold of you?
Our website is cakerental.com, so they can just go to cakerental.com. They can see all our beautiful cakes there. We have probably 140 or so on the website itself, and then we do custom orders as well. So if a customer doesn't see what they want, then we can do something special just for them, for organizations or trade shows or photo shoots, anything like that.
Awesome. CakeRental.com. Kimberly Aya, owner of Fun Cakes. You've seen her all over the place. You'll see her some more. You'll see her in Vegas. Kimberly, thank you for taking your time out.
Thank you so much. I sure appreciate it.
Up next, we've got Angela Mueller with TempleWorks LLC, a unique new product designed to help all women live better lives. You'll love to check that out. Plus, later in the show, Fleetwood Hicks, owner of Villy Customs, tells us about his ABC Shark Tank experience and gives some great hints and tips on how to prepare to pitch investors. Plus, I still want to get to know you later on in the show. It's Eugene Rowe on Radio for Small Business, sponsored by HombaBiz.com. That's HombaBiz.com.
Starting a business? Join the HombaBiz Small Business Network. You connect and get info on real deals. Deals and connections that can help you increase cash flow and acquire assets. Everything from private equity to direct sales. Joining is simple and free. Simply open your smartphone and text BizBlast to 77948. Text BIZ Blast to 77948. Standard messaging charges may apply. Here's to getting to know you better. HombaBiz Small Business Network. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Welcome back to Radio for Small Business. It's your host, Eugene Rowe, sponsored by HombaBiz.com, the best broadcast for the home-based business owner. Still to come, Fleetwood Hicks, owner of Villy Customs. You've seen him on Shark Tank. You've seen him in other places. He got a big deal. He's going to talk about trials, tribulation, and even triumph. But right now, Angela Mueller is owner of TempleWorks LLC, based out of Jacksonville, Florida. They're up and coming. They're new to the game, but they're making things happen. Angela, thanks for taking your time out, and welcome to HombaBiz Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, where'd you get the idea for your business?
My husband and I decided that we wanted to create a company that helps to make your body better. So we do create unique products, very unique products that enhance your body in a good way. And so that's what TempleWorks is all about. We are committed to social responsibility, giving back, and making sure that we're socially responsible and doing what we need to do to take care of the environment and your body.
In fact, I went to your website. The first product you guys got out definitely takes care of the body. It is a part of a huge industry that I didn't even realize. Testy Fresh is you guys' first product, correct?
Yes.
Now tell me about it.
Okay, so Testy Fresh is a all-natural product. It's an antiperspirant designed for the male genital area. That's right, the male genital area. And I always give a pause when I talk about the product because it takes a minute for folks to process it. And so we came about this product several years ago, maybe 8 to 10 years ago, because my husband, he is very athletic, he sweats a lot, and he was actually using alternative products. And so they would actually irritate him along his inner thigh area, and we decided that we would come up with something that would eliminate all of the chafing, all of the discomfort, and so we came up with an all-natural product, and that product is Testy Fresh. Again, it's designed for the male genital area to keep you fresh, keep you dry all day long, and it also smells delectable to anybody who's in the vicinity.
Okay, now, what's your husband's name?
His name is Arthur.
Okay, I've got to say to Arthur really quick. I know you're listening, Arthur. I got to apologize. I normally don't talk to guys' wives about what we're talking about, but it's your product, okay? So I didn't realize how big this industry really is. As soon as I saw your website, I Googled antiperspirants and things like that. Tell us a little bit about the industry itself. What did you find during your research?
Personal care industry is a huge industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. People are always looking for ways to enhance themselves, to enhance their personal being. And so, we all use deodorant. We all use some form of fragrance to, lotion, whether it be lotion or cologne or perfume. And for guys, this is an area that they don't talk about a whole lot. They may use cologne. And then, again, like I said, Arthur started out using alternatives like a baby powder or even regular deodorant in that area. And lots of guys are still using that. But again, it's not designed for that area. Guys sweat differently in their genital area than they do on the rest of their body. And so when you use things like aluminum, you use things like different oxides, it can actually irritate the area. But again, ours is all natural, and that's an industry that we're getting into as well, the all natural industry. Not only does it help the environment, but it also is better for your body. And so we wanted to make sure that we got derivatives from, some of the best manufacturers and producers in the United States. And, we were able to put together a formula that could enhance you physically, and then also, again, help the environment.
Now, the first question that most people are going to ask, they're going to say, what does Angela know about testicles? Okay. So what do you tell them?
What do I know about testicles? Well, my answer to that is that I live with 3 pair. Not only, Arthur sweat a lot, but I have 2 teenage boys, and they are very athletic as well. They play sports. They play lacrosse and basketball and football, and they run track. And I'm telling you, Ro, when they would get into my car, the 3 of them, after a sporting event, it would just be horrible. The stench would just be overwhelming. And so the directions on the packaging for Testy Fresh, it says that it's not for your armpits, it's for your sack pits. And that's what we have. That's what we've designed the Testy Fresh for. My husband would say, honey, those are not armpits that you smell, that's something else. And so to eliminate that odor, we just tried different formulas. I tried it on my sons, I tried it on my husband, and I'm telling you, when they get in the car after an event, it's just a neutral smell in my car. If I don't smell the enticing odor of pineapple and coconut, which is what it's made with, that fragrance, I just smell nothing, and that's a whole lot better than the sack pits that I smelled before.
So when you guys tested the product and you had to start promoting it, it's obviously a great product. It's obviously useful. It's obviously a part of a big industry. How did you have to do your product research?
There are similar products out there. They haven't been around for a while, but there are similar products. Our application is completely different from any other product that is designed for the male genital area. And not only that, the other products don't have a fragrance. So when we decided to test it, we actually took packages that were not labeled and we gave it to random guys of all different races and ages. And we would have them test our main competitor's product versus our product. We gave them a survey and they would complete the survey anonymously. They didn't have to put their names on it. And our product was favored unanimously in terms of fragrance and application. A lot of the other products that are out there are designed as lotion to powder or simply powder. And so with the lotion to powder, you have to get your hands involved. And so we wanted to design something where that wasn't the case. So with our product, you actually apply it directly from the container, and so your hands don't come out with a powdery mix.
You obviously put a lot of time and a lot of energy into product research. Let's talk about you. Switch gears a little bit. Talk about your background a little bit, where you're from, education-wise, and just tell us about Angela.
I am actually born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and I still live there. Duval is place to be. And I grew up here and still living here, working here. We have family here. The majority of my husband's family is here. We actually grew up about 2 or 3 miles away from each other growing up, and we never knew each other until we got older, and then we met. But we have all the same friends, which is weird. I went to school, and I got my bachelor's degree and master's degree in business administration. So I do have an MBA from Jacksonville University, and I'm currently in school right now for my doctorate degree in organizational leadership. As a part-time job, I actually still give back in the form of teaching. So I teach business students over at a local college here in Jacksonville. I teach online, and so I teach them about public relations management. I teach them about small business management, international management, and that's great for me because I love giving back in that way. And then it helps to keep me sharp. So the more that I'm able to teach them, the more it keeps me on my P's and Q's so that I'm, staying abreast of what's going on in the market and the latest strategies for a successful small business owner.
I'm guessing, just talking to you, that you're a very detailed person. You sound, most entrepreneurs are, I don't want to say wishy-washy, but, wishy-washy. But you sound like you really take information and you know how to synthesize that information and turn it into something productive. I
consider myself a lifelong learner, and again, I like to make sure that I'm sharp because I love teaching. I love giving back in that way. I'd actually started a small, a non-core entity of Temple Works where I actually consult with other small business owners to help them get started, realize their vision, and just understand the realities of being a small business owner. We see the glamour, and a lot of people like to go into because they want to be their own boss. But I tell people all the time, being a business owner doesn't mean that you're your own boss. It just means that you have a lot of other bosses because your customers are actually who are in charge. If they're not happy and they're not spending their money, then you're not making money. And so you have to be mindful of your customer's needs, the environment, being innovative. All of that drives you, and that's actually your customer. Your drive and your vision is the customer.
Angela Mealer is on with us. She's owner of Temple Works LLC out of Jacksonville, Florida. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and talk to Angela a bit more. And I want to get to your mindset about how you serve your customers, how you reach your customers, and how you get inside your customer's head to provide them with solutions that make sense for them. Okay?
All right.
All right, we'll be right back.
Starting a business? Join the Homba Biz Small Business Network. You connect and get info on real deals. Deals and connections that can help you increase cash flow and acquire assets. Everything from private equity to direct sales. Joining is simple and free. Simply open your smartphone and text Biz Blast to 77948. Text BIZ Blast to 77948. Standard messaging charges may apply. Here's to getting to know you better. Homba Biz Small Business Network. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Welcome back to Radio for Small Business, sponsored by HomeBaBiz.com, taking care of home-based business. I'm your host, Eugene Rowe, and we're back with Angela Mealer, owner of TempleWorks LLC out of Jacksonville, Florida. We've talked about her first product. We've talked about her background. Now we want to talk about customers. Tell us a little bit about you guys' strategy to attract and retain customers for your business.
Well, the first thing is that you want to focus on creating a product or service that people will love and that they will tell their friends about. And so that's what we wanted to do when we started TempleWorks. We spent about a year actually developing the product so that when a customer tries it, that they'll be so impressed or they'll be so pleased that they would tell someone else about it. So, I think that's the first thing that we as business owners should consider is that the product or service that we're putting out there, we need to spend a lot of time and energy making sure that it's something that our customers need. We hear the old adage that the customer is always right. Well, I like to challenge that because the customer doesn't always know what they need. If they did, then we wouldn't be in business because we wouldn't be able to offer anything that they needed. How does somebody know that they need an Escalade, or how does someone know that they need a Mercedes or a BMW? We create the need for them. So as business owners, you should spend a lot of time focusing on that need that you want to meet for your customer and developing that product or service that is so excellent that it meets the need so well, they'll tell other people about it.
Great. And you hear that a lot, especially on TV shows from other business gurus. Find your unique selling proposition and hammer it home and really tell the audience why they should buy your product. I know a lot of businesses, they don't take as much education as some other businesses, but it seems like you at least you've got, the strategy head on. Now, when you get the customers, what are you doing? I mean, how do you satisfy them? Just tell us about your customer service.
So we have now our product, our initial product is actually one that men would use. So you would think that we market to men, but men are actually not the buyers of the product.
Wait,
a lot of
really?
men don't realize, a lot of men don't realize that they need the product. They'll say, I don't need anything like that, or I take a shower, or I'm using something else. But when you talk to the women, they always say, oh my gosh, we need it. And so, we market to the women who have husbands, the women who have brothers or sons that, and they are the ones on the short end of the stick, if you will, when it comes to the older and things that they have the experience from the guys. And you know that women are more apt to purchase anyway. We like to shop.
Right.
We like to buy things. We like something that's unique. And being that this product is so unique, with a man, we have to actually not only create the need, but we have to sell a lot more. Whereas with the woman, automatically she's like, you know what? He needs that. So we focus a lot on the women. We actually design the product so that it would be enticing for the women. So when they smell it, that's something that they desire to smell more of. And that helps the guys. So when we do market to them, we tell them that the women enjoy it. So anybody who's in the area would enjoy it as well. So we actually designed our first fragrance with the woman in mind because that would attract her. And if the guys know that the woman is attracted, then they're more apt to purchase it as well.
Gotcha. So I want to make sure, since on the other break we talked about what you guys' first product was, you want to do a quick recap of what you guys' first product is so that somebody listening right now who just heard what you said has an idea of your product?
Yeah, absolutely. So our first product is called Testy Fresh. It's an all-natural, lightly scented antiperspirant designed for the male genital area. So it's applied from a container in the form of a solid, if you think about a deodorant stick, and the guys just slide it along their inner thighs as a part of their daily routine, and it keeps them fresh and dry all day long. And so we're just talking about the customer base, and of course we have the website, but we're local and we want to buy local and support our local markets, but we wanted to have a global reach. And so not only did we focus on our website and building a website, but we wanted to use some of the social media networks in order to attract a larger market. And so we've been doing that with commercials. We also are available for sale on eBay and Amazon. And so, just being able to attract the customers who recognize those brands opened up a whole new market for us, online market of people who are shoppers and are looking for something unique and fresh. And, when they see that product, they're more apt to buy because we're associated with some of the bigger brands.
Now, when you started the business, you and Arthur, your husband, did you imagine that things would pick up and start to move so quickly, so well?
I was hoping for it. I actually applied all of the knowledge that I got in business school, Ro, and that started with first, being innovative. We didn't just want to throw something together and offer it to our customers. We wanted to spend some time developing the product, developing the right target audience, developing the right message, because something like this, that's so, not only is it unique, but it could be offensive to some people. So we wanted to actually make it a little bit light, something that we could joke about and laugh about and, really get the emotion involved. So not only, once we get past the initial shock of where it's applied, then people start to say, you know what, this is something that we need. And when we get them to laugh or to get upset even, when you get that customer emotion involved, then you can actually tell your story after that.
I got to tell you, because I was on your website and I watched your video probably 8 times, literally. And it was 3 a.m. My wife was asleep. I woke her up multiple times and I said, you got to see this. What it made me do, it made me really research your product, really research your industry a whole lot more than I had ever even known. I didn't even know about the industry and how big it was. So that's pretty cool. So when you guys started, now that you're getting the success, let's talk a little bit, if we could, about being a business owner, being a mother, and being a wife. How do you juggle all 3 of those responsibilities? Or do you just say, hey, we're being in business and we're going to do it big?
Well, I try to keep it in the family, if you will. I try to involve my family in the different aspects of the business. If you look at the logo that we created, my daughter, she's an art student. Well, she likes art, and she actually drew the logo for us. Our boys, who I said are into sports, we actually had them to try the product. And so, we kind of use it as a teaching tool, teaching them business, but then also, letting them see the fun in it. And so all the decisions that we make, we try to make them as a family, whether it be what are we going to eat tonight or, who's going to buy our product. We have them talking about the product and giving it out. So we try to keep our family first, but, also incorporate the different aspects of it. We just we're a very open family, so we talk about a lot of things at the dinner table, and everybody's involved so they don't feel left out and like we're prioritizing our business or our lives above them, because we try to keep them involved as well.
I think that's great, especially with business owners who involve their family, who involve their kids. Are you seeing, since you guys started the business, that even your kids, their self-images are so much higher than other kids their age? Are you seeing that growth just because they're involved in something that's for, the greater good, the family?
Absolutely. I do see that a lot. And they look for opportunities to be a help to the family. And so they say, hey, Mom, did you think about selling it over there? And look, there's Coach. Why don't you tell him about Testy Fresh? So they're handing out cards and smiling, and they're telling the story as well. And so, we kind of prepared them because of the type of product that it is. We've had more open conversations about, that has just opened up a whole new dynamic for our family, and we're just open and we can talk about a lot of different things that some families can't.
Awesome. Well, what's next for the Mueller family? What's next for TempleWorks LLC?
For the Mueller family, we're actually just looking to continue to push this product. We're looking to get into different areas with TempleWorks. It's actually, our motto is to make your body better. And so Testy Fresh is just our initial product. We're already getting requests from women who want a product just for the women, but we know that industry is even, is very large, and so they have a lot of different options. So we're trying to focus on the men right now. We're going to be bringing out a new fragrance here within the next couple of weeks. And hopefully in the future we'll focus on all natural products such as toothpaste or deodorant and things like that can actually enhance your body, but by using natural ingredients that won't harm you in the long run.
Awesome. Well, Angela Mueller, owner of TempleWorks LLC, manufacturer of Testy Fresh. How can listeners get a hold of you?
Well, they can go to the website, testyfresh.net. They can also find the product on eBay and on Amazon by just typing in Testy Fresh, and it should pull it up and you'd be able to purchase it. Right now we are running a special where there is absolutely no cost for shipping. So it's just like if you saw me on the street and you purchased it, you can go online to one of our online sites and purchase it, and there would be no shipping at all. So TestyFresh.net and also eBay and Amazon.com.
That sounds great. Testy Fresh. That's TESTI Fresh.net, correct?
That's it.
Awesome, Angela. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ro, for having me on the show.
Starting a business? Join the Homba Biz Small Business Network. You connect and get info on real deals. Deals and connections that can help you increase cash flow and acquire assets. Everything from private equity to direct sales. Joining is simple and free. Simply open your smartphone and text Biz Blast to 77948. Text BIZ Blast to 77948. Standard messaging charges may apply. Here's to getting to know you better. Homba Biz Small Business Network. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Welcome back. It's Radio for Small Business with your host, Eugene Rowe. Sponsored by HombaBiz.com. That's HombaBiz.com. HombaBiz. The best broadcast for the home-based business owner. I want to once again say hello to all the people in beautiful West Palm. We are looking forward to having a great relationship in South Florida. Of course, the Boca Raton area, West Palm, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Belgrade, and all the surrounding areas for Radio for Small Business. This is our inaugural weekend in South Florida. So I did want to take a couple minutes and tell you a little bit about what Radio for Small Business is about. You've already heard guests from Shark Tank. You've already heard a guest who has a local business in Jacksonville, Florida. A little bit about our story. I myself, Eugene Rowe, just a few years ago, was working my guts out at a corporate job. Still am. Don't tell anybody, all right? But I started a business, my wife and I, and we began to create some income in our spare time. However, before I could build that income up so that I could leave the full-time job, guess what happened? Yes, the economy got bad, downsizing happened, and the layoff happened to me. That's okay, though. What were we supposed to do with a small income, a small business income that was not yet ready to handle a young married couple? Well, obviously we wanted to keep our business going, but I figured that, you know what, the Radio for Small Business would be a great way to give back to the community. And that's what I want to do. You know, a lot of the information that's just out in the marketplace, out in the airwaves, you can just tell it's information for the sake of having information for infopreneurs. There's nothing wrong with you if you're an infopreneur, but I wanted to start a show for business owners, for aspiring business owners, from the mindset of real business owners. And that's why we're reaching out to make really business owners almost like rock stars. And the whole goal of Radio for Small Business, let's make sure we build some lasting connections. Who knows, you may find some great deals. You may find some great capitalization. You may be able to just capitalize on great deals with great capitalization. Who knows, right? But let's make sure we build the right relationships together with Radio for Small Business, sponsored by the Home Biz Network. Of course, your host, Eugene Rowe, always excited to be here. And I'm really excited to have a revamp replay of my next guest. Now, what's a revamp? It's basically an interview that we did online a couple of years ago, but we wanted to bring it back to you on AM, FM radio so that you could see the caliber of guests that you'll be getting with Radio for Small Business.
Put your mouth where your money is. Radio for Small Business with HombaBiz.
Fleetwood Hicks is owner of Philly Customs. You may have seen him on Shark Tank a few seasons back, where he swam in and swam out with a deal. Fleetwood, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Tell us about the experience when you had to walk into the Shark Tank and talk to the sharks.
Oh, wow. It was a nerve-wracking experience. You don't really know it, but when you go on the set, everything's live. They don't let you start over. They don't edit anything. I mean, they edit it after you do it, but so from the moment you start, it's pressure. You walk up on the stage and you actually do a stare down with the sharks for it's about 3 minutes. But what it does is it kind of gets you nervous, you know, and I think they do that on purpose. But it was a good experience, but definitely a riveting one.
Now, with your business, are you based out of California?
Actually, the weirdest thing is we're based out of Dallas, Texas. Even though everybody thinks we're from the West Coast, we're ideally situated because Dallas-Fort Worth is a central shipping point for the whole U.S. It's like, you know, it's halfway in between everywhere, and so it really works best for our company since the bulk of our business is sold bikes online.
Let's talk a bit about how your business ran prior to being on ABC's Shark Tank. What'd your business look like before you started pitching investors?
Well, the biggest thing was I was using all my retirement money trying to keep the business, you know, moving in the right direction and whatnot. And we had a very small retail location, and we were primarily selling our bikes to customers here in Dallas that would come in and custom design their bikes. And so after we got on Shark Tank and we were able to get our funding, it enabled us to take it more to a national level. We don't even have a retail location anymore. Now we just got it's like a bike building factory here. It's about 11,000 square feet. And we just, you know, it's kind of like it's not open to the public. It's more of like a facility, and then we ship the bikes all over the country.
Now, you just said something that's big with a lot of our listeners. You were funding your business with retirement money. What were you doing before you started Villy Customs?
I've actually always been an entrepreneur. I've kind of gone from one thing to the next to the next. And, I actually built a pretty well-run clothing apparel company, and I sold that back in 2001. So to be quite honest with you, that money has allowed me to try different things throughout the years. I've had to use some of the money that I made with my big hit to try to fund the other ones. And, I've struck it out quite a few times. That's part of, I know your show is all about that, but part of it is, if you aren't successful, you got to stop, go to something else and try something else new. And so I just ended up going through two or three businesses before I really found the right one.
That's pretty awesome. That's a very brave mindset that you have. Many of our listeners are either currently in corporate America, plotting on how to get away from it with their own business, and many of them worked in corporate America for entire careers, saved money in 401ks, in IRAs and other retirement plans and savings vehicles, and I know the thought of investing their retirement money can be a pretty scary ordeal.
The way I look at the whole thing is, and it is very scary, but, at the end of the day, it's like you only got one life. You can't take it all with you. So I think sometimes people are too scared, and I think you just got to sometimes, if you really believe in it, you got to put it out there and you got to go for it.
Well, since we're on the topic, I do have other questions. But I'm pretty sure when friends and family found out that you'd be using your 401k money, didn't some of them come to you and say, "What are you doing? What are you crazy?"
Oh, most everybody. Most people are a little bit more conservative, and most people aren't entrepreneurs as well. That's why most people are working at corporate jobs or doing things they don't want to do. So, it takes a little bit of guts, but if you believe in your idea enough and you're willing to, put that effort and that hard work into it, that's what it takes,
So it's no secret now that you've gone into the Shark Tank, you've received a deal, and you walked out with pretty much a liquidity event.
Oh, we were the first company ever to get Mark Cuban and Barbara Corcoran, which is a great combination. We were very lucky. I think if you get people like that on board with you too, it's like legitimizes business. Like, if you've got some investors that you don't have to worry as much about the money, but it also, it's like when I make a phone call now and I can say, we're co-owned by Mark Cuban or Barbara Corcoran, I'm usually going to get them to take the phone call, whereas before it was just like, hey, this is Fleetwood here. Okay, who's that, So it's definitely helped. And, I think just the security of knowing that you're not continually having to go into your retirement account or whatnot, it's better to give away or to sell part of your business and get some equity so you necessarily don't have to go through all your money to grow the business, because, to grow the business, it does take money. You're, at times, of course, you're spending more money than you're making because you're growing your business, inventory,
Right.
things you got to buy, updating your computers, renting your space, all these things cost a lot of money.
So had you previously pitched investors before you went on to the Shark Tank?
What's interesting is I have always done businesses where I've always just invested, I've built the business. Yeah, and so it was my first go around, and I had never ever tried to sell a stake in any company I've ever owned before. It was my first experience.
Wow, Fleetwood. Now, I know some of our listeners are going to hear that and vomit, because literally your first time pitching investors, you ended up partnering with a billionaire and another multimillionaire.
I got a big group of people that I know that are business owners, really smart people. I got people from, different age groups, and I basically went in front of them, sort of did like a presentation, and I just told them all, I said, I knew most of them, go ahead and chop me up and spit me out. I want you to make me look as bad as you possibly can. And then that way, it kind of enabled me to practice, to know what I was going to have to look out for. And, of course, I've watched Shark Tank a lot as well, but getting up and doing it live and in front of people, your peers or whatnot, it's a lot different than just kind of going, oh, I know these questions. I videoed it, and I actually watched it. It was terrible. Once I saw it and I saw how bad it was, I thought, hey, these are the things that I got to do to, not screw the deal up. And so I just worked on the things that I thought I needed to work to. And so at the end of the day, it was just practice. It was practicing and kind of going over it in front of other people.
Now, Fleetwood Hicks, owner of Philly Customs, what are your plans over the course of, say, the next year? I know you already told us about the warehouse and shipping the bikes and things like that, but what's next within the next 365 days?
Oh, we're doing some really cool stuff. First thing is we're doing a whole lot of corporate bikes. It's a huge part of our business. So we'll go out to companies like Boeing or Southwest Airlines or McDonald's or whatnot. Those are all accounts that we've gotten. And what we do is we sell them on the idea that, the bicycle is a rolling billboard for their brand. So we'll create a bike that looks just like, their company. And so that's going really well for us. We sell to a lot of hotels as well. But our big thing that we're doing that we've never done before, and it's just started about a month ago, is we're actually, for the first time ever, going into local bike shops, select ones, like only like specialty bike stores that we feel like really have that right vibe for our brand. And so you'll actually be able to go out and buy a Billy custom bike, not just online. You'll be able to go out to the bike shop and actually see it and touch it and feel it and ride right off with it, so you don't even have to wait for it. Now, it's not going to be, you can't custom design it that way, but basically I'm designing all of those bikes, and there's tons of them, so they're going to be still real exclusive, limited edition, and they're outstanding bicycles.
So I can see you becoming like the Nike of custom bikes. How about that?
Thanks, man. I like that. I think we have a great chance because just the experience that I've had with the customers that do receive our bikes, and if you go to our Facebook page, which I don't want to sit here and tout, but facebook.com/Billy Customs. If you look, we have like fanatical fans about our brand, and mainly it's like when they get the bike, they always say, hey, it's even better than I thought it was going to be. That being said, it let me know, like, hey, we just got to get them out in some bike shops to where more people across the country can actually see them. And we think that'll help with our brand awareness, sales growth in general. And we also think we'll sell a lot more bikes over the web because, the smart guy can go out to the bike shop and see a nice bike and still go, hey, I want to research that brand. So then they go to our website, and they'll go, wow, I can design my bike exactly the way I want it for the same price. So we feel like, all the way around it's a good option.
So final tips for a budding entrepreneur who has an idea, but now he or she has to learn how to pitch investors. What's one thing that maybe you learned on ABC's Shark Tank that you'd like to pass on to other entrepreneurs?
A, you got to have a good product. B, you got to be confident. And I think don't take it too seriously. example, people can tell when you're really uptight about just trying to, like get everything perfect. So I would say just go up there and have that confidence and just have fun, you can tell it sometimes when people are just taking everything so seriously, and I asked Barbara and both Mark and I said, hey, how did you decide to go with us, and they both said a lot of it was not just the product but the person. But they said it wasn't like one certain thing. It's almost like you want to appear to be like trustworthy and honest and all that kind of stuff, and I think that stuff shines through. But if you just be confident and you just don't take it too seriously, I think everybody will do better with their pitch. But you've got to know your numbers, and you've got to know that people are going to ask you all those tough questions, because any investor, they're going to know the questions that you need to know, and if you don't know them, you're going to look like a fool. And I think sometimes when people watch Shark Tank, we see that. We see those people that I guess you could say they didn't really do their homework. You got to know it backwards and forwards, like know what a gross margin is, know what a profit margin is, know it backwards and forwards, because that's one of the things. And, they edit the show. They cut certain things out because they can't show a 1 hour. It's a 1 hour interview that you're doing with them. And, but at the end of the day, they're asking you the same question different ways, to where if you're fudging, or if they're going to expose you, and they're going to go, look, man, this guy, he's saying one thing here and one thing there. And so I did a lot of studying on, gross margins and what all the percentages are and stuff like that, and it's got to all match up. So it's just doing a little bit of R&D and knowing that,
Fleetwood Hicks, owner of Billy Customs, thanks for taking your time.
Hey, man, I enjoyed it. Great questions, and good luck to everyone.
Starting a business? Join the Homba Biz Small Business Network. You connect and get info on real deals. Deals and connections that can help you increase cash flow and acquire assets. Everything from private equity to direct sales. Joining is simple and free. Simply open your smartphone and text Biz Blast to 77948. Text BIZ Blast to 77948. Standard messaging charges may apply. Here's to getting to know you better. Homba Biz Small Business Network. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect. Capitalize. Go.
Well, we've come to the end of another Radio for Small Business show with your host, Eugene Rowe, sponsored by Homba Biz. Homba Biz. HOMBABIZ.com. I know you may be wondering what Homba Biz stands for. Well, it's an acronym. I don't know if the right word is acronym or something, or pseudonym. I don't know. It's short for home-based business. Get it? HomeBaBiz.com. HomeBasedBusiness.com. They're the sponsors of the Radio for Small Business. Make sure that you check out the website, just in case you missed any part of the show, in case you missed Kimberly Aya with Fun Cakes, just in case you missed Angela Mealer with Testy Fresh, just in case you missed our revamp replay with Fleetwood Hicks from Billy Customs. Make sure you visit the website on Monday when we post the audio to the website at homebabiz.com. If you'd like a reminder, simply send us a text message, a short keyword, to our number. That keyword is BizBlast, BizBlast. And you can text that to 77948. So you spell BizBlast, B-I-Z, Blast. B as in boy, I-Z, Blast. You can text that to 77948. If you've got any more specific questions, maybe some ideas for the show, maybe someone that you think needs to be on Radio for Small Business, email me at hombabiz@gmail.com. That's HOMBABIZ@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Next week, we've got more business owners raising capital. We've got more newbies who are just starting, still using their own capital. And the great thing is that my co-host, and yes, I said the co-host, Dominique will be back. She's just a bit under the weather. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Dominique. And we will see you next week on Radio for Small Business. Eugene Rowe, Dominique next week, 10 a.m.